Hey Cancers, this is Hal for HES Ultimage, and this is your Spirit Tea Leaf forecast for the month of July. And trying to reintroduce these. I was doing them when I first started the channel, and then I took a little break, but now trying to do a few times a year for each sign. And I'm doing them by element now. So water's getting the tea leaf readings for July. Prior month it was fire, and then next month it'll be earth. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep rotating it like that because the tea leaf readings are really unique. So, and it's something else that I do that people tend to enjoy. So it's like kind of cool to be able to see what a tea leaf reading is actually like. All right, cool. So that said, I'm going to show you the cup and look at the cup, and that's what it looks like. And I like to show you, even though you can't really make out a whole lot, and sometimes it drips water out. That's been left over, which just happened. I have black sheets, so there's no issue there. But I like to show you that the symbols are actually in the cup and that I actually did take the time to interpret them. And also, it's just fun to look at. Alright, so that said, I am going to jump into doing the reading once I blot up this little bit of condensation on the sheet here. It's fine. Alright, here we go, and getting started and getting my pen, because I interpret the symbols prior just to, keep things simple so you're not waiting the whole time for me to figure out what the symbol means. Alright, okay. Okay, cool. Alright, so they're starting me out with the first symbol here, which is a pixie, so it's like a sprite, a fairy. Pixie has a very playful energy to it. Very, like, playful, a little more, yeah, a little bit mischievous, but more in a fun way. Like, in a playful way, like, kind of the way that you would play a game of tag, how that can be kind of a mischievous air to it. It's that kind of vibe, that it's, like, playful, in an exchange kind of way, almost. Okay. Alright. Okay, cool. Alright, and that's what they're trying to bring through now. Because the pixie is moving towards Saturn. That represents areas where you might be challenged or receive challengers. And here we go. Between Venus and Saturn, and then like towards Saturn was the pixie. So the idea is that energies where it might be mischievous playfulness, or a little bit of prodding, because this could also be the energy of being challenged by, okay, a friend, a lover, or a family member who's just kind of prodding at you. It's kind of like when somebody keeps poking you because they want attention, but then it's like, you can get kind of irritated by it. That's kind of the energy for the challenge aspect. Yeah, because they're saying the energy in Venus, like, for relationships is playful overall, but that's a part of the challenge, is that sometimes it can manifest in a way, yeah, that's a little bit more irksome. Yeah, so just be aware of it. Overall, the energy in Venus, for, again, relationships, so again, that's friends, relationships in love and everything, and family, can be, again, it can create a challenge, but overall it's just meant to be more playful and a little bit more frivolous. As far as the exchange is concerned. The exchange is very light and playful, so it's like, again, that might cause part of the friction eventually because of the fact that people aren't really watching what they say, they're just saying it. Okay, alright. Okay, alright. Okay, next symbol they want to bring me down into is this energy of a warrior on a buffalo. There we go. All right, and getting it. They said this represents the energy of patience, and again, it's like the energy that you're being more noble, and yeah, more noble within that patience and within, being patient with your loved ones. Yeah, very patient with them, because that's a part of the remedy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's, yep, okay, getting it. And it's actually between Jupiter and Venus, which literally is between good fortune and your relationships. Yeah. And again, they're showing it's the idea of patience is really what's important, because again, communications will be a little bit more lax in their tact because of the fact that people are just going to be, like, playing it off the cuff, like, you know, they're not really too concerned about what they're saying or how they're saying it, which, you know, can be a little lighthearted, but can also sometimes cause someone to rub you the wrong way. Yeah, and they're saying not often, but just a little bit. So again, this isn't like a key concern for the month, it's just an underlying flavor. Exactly. Is that this can, like, pop up for you, so when it happens, you can address it with that patient energy and that valiance of being, you know, well-grounded and approaching people and what they say with that balanced sensibility and that perspective of, okay, before I, you know, jump to a conclusion, should I evaluate this in a much more, you know, patient and detached way? There we go. Yeah, okay. Cool. All right, give me 1 second. We're going to move on to some more here. Oh, no wonder. All right, now I'm getting this. Cool. Okay, so the next image they're bringing me into was the image of this horned monster head that was in the cup. And they specifically already let me know that it has to do with fears or insecurities that are resulting from identity. Yeah. And they're literally saying, because this is why they were tying it in this order and direction, that that pixie energy, that people just kind of, like, letting whatever they want to say fly out of their mouth without much consideration or thought, could wind up awakening some of your insecurities or fears in your own identity sector. It's kind of the energy of a person making a really careless comment. Like, okay, one example is, like, let's say you're at a karaoke bar and somebody makes a joke about how you sing or something, and then you blow it up into something where you're like, oh my god, am I really that bad of a singer? Oh my god, did I embarrass myself? And then go into it for, like, days later. That's the idea, is that you're supposed to avoid that kind of reaction. Because again, keeping in mind that for you, for Cancers in July, people are going to be expressing themselves to you in ways that their filter is off, pretty much. So yeah, so in which case you really need to remain, again, patient and detached when it comes to how you evaluate those communications and how people communicate towards you in your relationships. Because again, fears and insecurities could be, again, agitated or rubbed the wrong way. It's kind of the idea of having a wound and then picking at it a little bit. It's like, yeah, it's like minor kinds of energies, very minor, because again, even the pixie, it's like very lightweight. Um, Very minor agitations that could result. But again, if it's deeper rooted, right? If it's deeper rooted, the fear, the insecurity, then it can become something, yeah, they're circling the monster word. It can become something far more out of control than it should be. So remember to keep that very well controlled and very rope it in. Because again, I'm thinking of, yeah, the buffalo thing with the West. But the idea is to, again, keep yourself patient with people, patient with how you're going to react to people if they do happen to trigger you, okay? Because again, their lack of filter could wind up creating a, you know, for lack of a better word, a taboo, you know, comment that could create a reaction from you where, you know, they said something that maybe, you know, normally they would not say to you, which, yeah, creates a reaction from you that could become a lot more volatile than it needs to be. Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, give me a second. Okay, cool. And there's more of this energy that they want to bring through, carrying this over. There was this one area of the energy of crawling. Okay. Okay, cool. And they're trying to give me the energy of digging. That's right. And they're tying it into the fear energy or the insecurity. So the idea is that it could be digging into you, whatever that minor, yeah, very minor, yeah. comment could be that could wind up digging into you and kind of digging this ditch of negativity inside of you, remember to avoid any of that digging, because you're the one who winds up digging. The person would just say something really sudden and just off the cuff and not particularly meaningful, and then it just becomes a reflection of your own feelings, right? And, it's up to you then if you're going to let that grow into a greater issue or insecurity, or if you're going to just kind of, give me a second. Okay, and they're saying if you're going to choose to be brave and just choose not to let it bother you. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, interesting. And now they're bringing the full symbol together from where the crawling was coming from. It was this it was this cat that was crawling in a very playful way. And in this case, yeah, it's kind of the idea of stumbling beyond obstacles. It's kind of like when, puppies or kittens are first kind of learning to walk and they kind of stumble around. And it's kind of cute. But the idea is that you're kind of going to be able to move through your own insecurities that way, okay? That might result from minor interactions, okay? All right, give me a second. Yep. All right, next one. What are we going to do? Oh, all right. Okay, got it. So now they want to bring in the moon. Moon has to do with your emotions, and this is why they're bringing it in now. In the emotion sector, they showed the idea, there were all these like little scattered leaves, and it represented the idea of new feelings emerging. Yeah, and it has to do with, yeah, being above your fears and your insecurities. Because that's what it's about. It's about rising above those little fears and insecurities that can be triggered by something so minor. So really that's a big part of your assignment this month is the idea that, and you're learning rather, yeah, that you are rising above these minor triggers to any kind of fears and insecurities you might be holding inside of you, that you can identify them and then, move into greater and more enlightened territory with it. And part of it, yeah, is through that energy of patience, of identifying, not only identifying, a person's intentions, but also your own ability to react, okay? Yeah, and they're saying that's really one of the big things coming through right now, is that your ability to react and how you evaluate your reactions is very key in July, okay? All right. Okay. Okay, cool. And actually, they're tying in the image of the heart now, which was another image in the cup, tying that together with that little cat crawling analogy. It's the idea that your heart kind of perseveres in this way when it comes to identifying your own, you know what, I'm gonna just say it, yeah, your own strengths and weaknesses when it comes to identifying your own fears. So it's like kind of that learning curve kind of idea where you're starting in a place where you might discover that you're being triggered more than you want to be. And then you step back, you evaluate, and you go, okay, I just overreacted. When all I really needed to do was identify that this was nothing meaningful. Cool. All right, give me 1 second. We've got a little bit more here. Ha 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 ha. All right. Cool. Okay, in Jupiter, there's the image of a goddess, and that's the one they wanted me to go to next. And the particular energy of the goddess was wisdom and, a higher being, but also in a very gentle way in this particular image. And that's the idea that you approach any kind of agitations, triggers, things poking or prodding at you inside, because yeah, they're showing me the fear or the insecurity, that you address it in a way that's wise, that's loving, that's self-loving as well. Yeah, and also loving towards the person who didn't mean to cause you any harm or injury. Yeah, because they're showing that, like, again, it's the idea that, like, if you do happen to be triggered by that person, that, you know, they didn't really mean anything by it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, cool. All right. Then we've got between, yeah, we've got the jumping fish next. Yeah, okay. They're actually showing me jumping of Mars first, because it's the idea of jumping to conclusions. There we go. All right, cool. Because the jumping towards Mars energy is the idea that Mars is your action. So it's the idea that jumping to action to rush to itching to act on things without really thinking about what's at the root or cause of it. Because again, a minor comment can set somebody off because it, you know, touches them in a place that they don't want to be touched. It triggers them in a place that you didn't want to trigger them. And that's a part of your awareness that has to come from this month, okay? Again, identifying why something causes you to feel the way you feel is more important than the intention. Yeah, or the, not even the intention, but the perspective on your perspective on somebody else's intention, really. Because, yeah, again, it goes to something so minor as somebody making, like, a really casual, silly joke or comment about something about your identity. Yeah, that can cause you to become insecure. And, at the end of the day, this doesn't need to be any kind of brawl or you know, boxing match, because I've seen that in cups before, okay? When that energy is meant to happen, it does, but it's not meant to happen this month at all. Yeah, because the whole point is you being able to identify a trigger for you and understand why you're being triggered and why something hurts or why something agitates or annoys you. Yeah, and that's the thing. They're saying it's really not about deep hurts this month. It's really just about agitation that can result. And again, it's an underlying thing, but it's just an important part of the message. Because again, the overall energy of how your friends, lovers, or family are communicating is in a more light-handed way. So, you know, if they're kind of just like throwing their words around, it might slap you for by accident. And that's kind of the whole point. But again, they're bringing back that fear again. So it's like, again, because of those triggers, you could act, you know, irrationally in the moment. And it's not that dramatic, but the idea is you could, you know, lash out at somebody or not even so much lash out at them, but lash out at yourself for making a spectacle of yourself, thinking that, or thinking that you're, you know, not as great as you think you are, or something like that, when really, in reality, the person didn't mean it to begin with. Yeah. So just be aware of that in July. At the end of the day, these things, like, they come through in order to make us more self-aware, okay? And, again, it's a part of, yeah, they showed me towards Saturn, so the idea is it's a part of your divine challenge to identify this energy and then deal with it the right way. Yeah, and they're showing me with the idea of the monster head image and the fear to be able to identify your own, you know, insecurities, fears, monsters, inner demons, etc., and then put them in their rightful place by, you know, by being, you know, the Buffalo Warrior, having your patience about you to go, okay, I'm not going to go crazy about this or let this grow into something much bigger than it needs to be. Because at the end of the day, yeah, the communication I experienced was superficial. Okay? Okay. All right. So that said, I do personal readings. If you want one, hit the link below. Hope you do. And I hope you guys have an awesome month, okay? I'll see you later.